Ready? Running from it. Destiny arrives all the same.
And as this room fill up, be sure to hit the like button, share this content, let that friend, that neighbor know where to go when it's time to tune in to Cowboys Sports Talk and beyond. That's including the Ice Wall, Cowboy Nation. Shout out to the Graves. Shout out to everybody. Come on with it. Mama said there'll be days literally just like this. Dedication for the nation without hesitations nor deviations. Come on. Mama said there'll be days literally just like this. Off season, and we still got seasons here, baby. Come on with it. 5, 4, 3, 2, and I'm telling you. What? Hate. Oh my gosh, man. Appreciate everybody. Yes. All right. So there's been a few things that's been going on around the Cowboys world, and one of them been Tyler Guyton. Come on with it. Dak Prescott. Come on with it. Cavante Turpin is now old news. But what's the new news heading into this season? Let's shake it up. Appreciate everybody. Thank you, Jeremy, giving us the weather report. It is raining, and it has been raining. And I thought it was April showers that's supposed to happen, but I guess in Texas they got their own rules over here. So it is July rains. But speaking of rain, Dakota Prescott is ranked, I believe, number 79. I will show you guys the video, but how the NFL Network and all of that stuff work, you just got to take my word for it. Where do I feel, or where am I at with this ranking? Is much to do about nothing. I'm more tuned into who gave the analysis of Dak Prescott. They selected a Eagle guy who played for the Philadelphia Eagles, and they gave an opportunity for a Giants guy to speak upon those two things there. So, which is cool, right? But neither here nor there. Speaking of rain, we also have my guy, Tyler Guyton, going into his second season with the Dallas Cowboys, and he's working in the rain. Now, you see the cars parked outside. Now, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I got some sharp edges to me, right? I'm quite sure that the house had a garage that he can go in and do that, right? But this just goes to show you that he just want to showcase that, hey, I'm not out here drinking and driving, right? I'm not rolling one. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not in the strip club, and I'm not out here throwing my money away, right? So we can't have it one way or another, but I do like the notion that this guy's up and he's working on his hands. As an offensive lineman, you want to be able to shoot with your hands to redirect. You want to get the opposition and maintain them inside your cylinder. And a lot of people who's novice of, I guess, sports in general say, hey, man, what this got to do with football or basketball or any other sport? And if you are an athlete, you know for sure that all sports work together, and especially if you're talking about hand-eye coordination, and if you're talking about feet, then you know for sure that this is something that is very vital. And for those that it just let me know who know football and who don't know football, who know sports, who don't know sports, when they say, this is not going to do anything. Well, technicality is what it is, because you want to keep your elbows tucked inside, right? And you want to keep your hands up, shoulders squared, and you want to make sure that your hand match your feet, right? So be where your feet at and not over lunging. So all of this stuff with boxing, which is the ultimate chamber of truth, because there's no other sport that's going to be able to snitch on you like boxing, right? Boxing, to a degree, is such a difficult sport because at the end of the day, you can play football, you can play basketball, you can play soccer, but for damn sure you can't play boxing. And boxing is the universal sport that everybody think that they can do it until they get into that ring, right? And that minute would seem like an hour, especially if you're in there that someone know how to work that room. So what I'm getting at is shout out to Tyler Guyton for taking his time out and working on these things. Now, granted, everyone have a reason, but results are what matter. And at the end of the day, the Dallas Cowboys going to need this guy, Tyler Guyton, to be real 1,100%. And for anyone who's challenging his size and his height and everything, he is by far your biggest offensive lineman. If you put him side by side between him and Tyler Smith will have to arch his head up to look at Tyler Guyton. So he got the length, he got the size, he just got to put it together. And I just have to say this too for those who watching. This is what Tyler Guyton, and put a 1 in the chat if the audio is straight. I forgot to ask you guys that. This is the one thing that I want to tell you guys with Tyler Guyton. Cowboy Nation, and I'm only talking to the toxic fans, right? I mean, to this point, Giants fans don't bother us, right? Washington fans, they keeping themselves in the corner. They really try to, but they really don't talk bad about us. Eagles fans, yeah, you know, they gonna do them. But it's more of our own fan base that was spit upon, sully, denigrate, cast aspersions on our own, like we got to defend our own versus our own fan base. It's like anything that they do, they could be walking the dog. Oh man, why that dog got a collar on? He should have a harness. You know, he should have a harness. And he walking the dog. Hey, why that dog don't have a collar? He's too soft. You know, it doesn't matter what any Cowboy player do during the offseason. We are so fed up collectively, I guess, that we're going to spit upon it. We're going to take the angle that the 3-letter and the 4-letter network does, and we're going to take a dump on them. I posted a video, Trayvon Diggs, of him just working, just backpedaling and trying to get to the sideline, and it was a third of the Cowboy fans. Not Eagles, not Washington, not Giants. Cowboy fans. Oh, man, he's trash, man. He's slow. My grandmother in a wheelchair can move faster than him. Oh, man, he ain't gonna do nothing. Oh, we just wasting our time. Jerry should never, ever pay Trayvon Diggs. Get him up out of here. It's more of us spitting upon the Cowboy players than anything else. So it's crazy. It's crazy. You would think that we've been the only team that's been voided of a Super Bowl in the last 30 years and 30 seasons, you know. And when I look at the record, there's been a team that's been 31 seasons, 31 years without winning that Super Bowl. And by the way, that team is the 41ers. You know, it is annoying. Ain't that right? Like, I don't know what to say, you know. Yeah. So it's just crazy. But when I look back at this, I get it. I understand, you know. Tyler Guyton, just think about this. People are acting as if though it was his fault that he was drafted to the Cowboys. Like he said, hey, draft me, and I'm going to go play for the Cowboys and put me at left tackle and let me be a penalty machine because the year prior in college, I played right tackle, right? Don't you guys understand that even Tyler Guyton, year one, did something that the expectations for Tyron Smith were not even on the table for? Law, do you have any truth for that? Well, when Tyron Smith, who was considered a better tackle than Tyler Guyton coming out of college, that was more polished, they didn't even put him at left tackle. They started Tyron Smith his rookie year at right side, at right tackle, right? And then the following year, they moved him to left tackle after they realized Doug Free at left tackle was just like killing Romo. Romo had to come out and tell the coaching staff, is there a possible way that we can switch Tyron Smith to the left side? Because I can see from my right. And when Doug Free get whooped, I know how to maneuver and make the adjustments. That's all. That's all. Because this is what we got from overall on all of these things. Cowboy Nation, this team, as toxic as it could be, and as it all around, somehow we got to figure out a way to support each other, you know. And I get the Dak Prescott slander, and I get all of that. I understand. I'm not foolish to the degree whereas we are voided of these things called Super Bowl, right? And we looking for someone to blame. We looking for someone to pin the tail on the donkey with. And if you want to utilize your quarterback as such, then that's cool. That's okay. But let me see if you guys could understand what they said about Dak Prescott on this top 100. Let's get it.
John, the Cowboys say the quarterback has a hamstring injury and will not return. Saw him just staring into space. Overall, an unhappy day all the way around.
You can't fault him for getting hurt. You know, it's not his fault that, you know, had an injury, but, you know, he was doing really well, and he's proven in the past that he's a really good quarterback. So, but yeah, I would list him in the top 100.
Let's listen to this.
Obviously,
right here.
I was drafted to the Eagles this past year, so you know, can't be too fond of him or like him too much anymore. That's just the you know, part of the game. He did have a shortened season, and you know, wasn't able to put everything out there on the field and showcase why he's a top 100 player. But everything that I've heard is he is one of the best human beings that you can be around.
All right, so that's the Eagles' interpretation of Dak Prescott, right? And like I said, he couldn't help that he went to the Eagles, you know. But for that kid to wear all of that green to be talking so positive about Dak Prescott is crazy, right? But dedication goes a long way, not a short way. With your dedications and determination, this team can flip itself around in a good way. How is that possible? Well, it's a situation whereas we know that this is a copycat league, right? We know that people is going to emulate what we try to do, right? Whether it's good, positive, bad, happy, or sad, right? Ron Mitchell says Cowboy fans are experts at circling fire squads. Yeah, they are, man. It's just crazy, man. Dak is healthy, ready to wreak havoc on this season. This is Ice Cold Cowboy. Just Blaze, Law Nation Sports, good afternoon. Appreciate you. Robert M., I've been a fan of this team for a while. Dak has to play better. There's not a way back into There's not a way back into 2023 when we had the number 2 seed, 9 All-Pros, and finished second, number 2 in MVP votes and lost to the Packers. Yes, Robert, this is what I always love to say about that topic line, which you are 1,000% right. Dak must play better. Okay? Dak must play better. And that's not up for debate for anything else. But out of that 9 Pro Bowls, right, or 9 All-Stars, who else showed up? Like who else? Like, I get it. So the same heat should be applied to the other 8, right? Like, who else showed up in that particular game? And I just need to know. I want to know, because from the coaching staff, from everything, look, I hope that I can play this. I hope that I can play this. Let me see if I can. And just to give you guys the insight to this, right, is that I was just strolling around on TikTok, just minding my own business, right? Shout out to my TikTok. Shout out to people who still watch and do TikTok too, by the way. You know. And I was just strolling around, and I pinned this to my favorites over here. Let's see.
It's 1st and 19 here.
Listen properly.
Penalty. Not ideal.
I want you guys, even if you are a hater of the haters, like you can't stand Dakota Prescott, right? It's like, you know, if you can't stand the aura, the vibes, and everything about the kid, you know, if you don't understand it altogether. Let me see if I can rewind to the very beginning. I want you guys to listen, because sometimes it's better to hear it from someone else's mouth, right? That's looking at tape. And this is why Mike McCarthy is gone, okay? And just listen to me, right? And I want Dak delusional, fan with more excuses. I want you to listen, because I know you never played the sport. I know you don't play ball. I know you don't understand ball, because when you called in, you didn't know how to defeat quarters defense, right? But I want you to sit down and learn something, right? And just pay attention. Just listen. I'm trying to save you from the gray hair or losing hair off of your head, right? Come on.
It's 1st and 19 here after a holding penalty. Not ideal, but Dak Prescott and the Cowboys offense can definitely pick it up. Especially with no Dexter Lawrence in the game, there's a lot of reason to believe that Dak Prescott can make a throw and make this second and manageable. But McCarthy doesn't dial up a pass, he dials up a run. And the ball carrier is CeeDee Lamb, the wide receiver.
Why, Dak, why you didn't audible out of that, right? Just listen. Just listen properly, you know.
This run scheme is wide zone, and it's all about vision. The running back has to read it from outside in, so first you check if the edge is open. If it's not, you move one inside with your read. If that's not open, you read another gap inside and then another until eventually you're out of gaps, and then you cut back to the available one. CD does not have that type of vision, especially out of shotgun. So he tries to bounce something that's not there, and this ends up being a big loss. 2nd and 20. I still think it's kind of worth it to be aggressive, but I guess this is an acceptable time for a draw play, and it picks up some yards. It's 3rd down and 12. Again, not easy, but very manageable for a quarterback like Dak and a wide receiver like CD. But CD doesn't even end up running a route here. He just stands there with no blockers. And the ball goes up top to the fullback in the flat. You don't get that many drives per season, and it just frustrates me to look back on the Cowboys' play calling last year and seeing McCarthy waving the white flag, seemingly, when one thing goes wrong at the beginning of the drive.
Now, this is a series of Mike McCarthy's tendencies. And this is only a sample size, because they had put a pretty much a lockdown on us trying to explain to people with all 22, right? We can't even do all 22. They still might snatch the video from me showing those clips, right? But what I'm getting at, and you can't audible out of every situation, because what you're audibling into, you may not have personnel to really pick up what you need to. Now, there's some other examples I cannot show you guys, but there are other examples of when you talking about playing football, you got to have a set of plays that marry with each other, so that if this play doesn't check out, even though it's the same personnel, I can literally audible into something else to give you the same preview of personnel, but it's going to be a run play. But when you take tendencies out and you don't have a finite solution to your run game, then teams know that your tendency is we're trying to throw the ball. So when they know that, it doesn't matter how you move the furniture around on the Titanic, it's still going to sink. It doesn't matter. Hey, put the chairs over there. Yeah. Hey, and put that swinging chair over there. It doesn't matter. You're sinking anyway. And what we're saying is that the Cowboys being one-dimensional, and even when we are or were able to gash players or teams, they sit back and say we can still fall upon the tendency that you guys most likely are going to throw the ball anyway, because that's the propensity of what Mike McCarthy likes to do, or the tendency of what Mike McCarthy likes to do. And the Cowboys, for a long time under this particular system, never gave us an illusion, never gave us a situation whereas we match big with big. It's just that we go into these games with the mindset we're going to sling it all over the field, and we're going to use our running backs to hit them in the flat, to take it to the distance, and we didn't even have the personnel for that particular running back to catch things in the flat to get upfield. And we saw the droppage last season when our flanker or when our running back goes into the flat or the hook area, that they're supposed to do that. And the drop-off was tremendously. Rico, if you throw the ball and hit him in the flat, he wasn't taking it to the house. Ezekiel Elliott, we like Ezek, but he wasn't going anywhere but to 1 to 2 yards after he catches the ball. So now what we got to do is collectively give better tendencies and flip it on them and say, oh, we thought that they were trying to run the ball. They throwing it. Oh, we thought that they were trying to throw the ball. We're running it. So that's just for what it is when you start talking about the Dallas Cowboys and where they are at these particular juncture. Now, when we brought in Clayton Adams, Connor Riley, these guys have been known to put together plans on the ground. And last season, we didn't have that. We didn't have that. And we can literally argue even in 2023, 2022, and as well as 2021. The Cowboys' lack of running ability created this chaos of us being one-dimensional. And that's just for what it is. What's the score at half minus the Dak interceptions? Do the math. I guess you still not understanding. That was against the Giants. I think we won against the Giants. Dak delusional, which is exactly how you sound. You sound delusional, you know. But at the end of the day, I get it. You know, spare the people for lack of knowledge. You know what I'm saying? But at Bear 24, notice nobody hired Mike McCarthy, but the fans be caping for him. You know, and I get it. You know, here's the thing with Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy literally got the same issue when what's this guy? What's the coach name for the Kansas City Chiefs? Andy Reid. Yeah. Mike McCarthy and Andy Reid had the same issues. Keep in mind, Andy Reid didn't win his first Super Bowl until they started to run the ball. Or he ran the ball. When they went and got that little short guy, what's his name? What's the brother name back in the days? His name is the tip of my tongue. And what he did for Andy Reid was created balance, right? And even though you know he haven't been on that team for the last 2 years or what have you, doesn't mean that he didn't implement something that stuck. What I'm getting at is that with Mike McCarthy and Andy Reid, they had same issues. And we can, what was his name? Y'all help me out. The brother name. I think he's somewhere now. But I think he's in Chicago now, if I'm not mistaken. But what I'm getting at, you got to have balance. Balance is a major thing, especially when you're looking at offenses and as well as the Cowboys. In the last few years, we haven't been. Eric Bieniemy, thank you so much, man. Eric Bieniemy helped the Kansas City Chiefs offense collectively. Not saying that he was the reason why they got the Super Bowls with Pat Mahomes, but you got to look at what he was able to implement there, right? And once you go on, the implementation can stay. So when the Cowboys, our biggest impediment being balance, we haven't been a balanced approach of a team. we have been one-sided, and that is a issue for the Cowboys. Now, when I look at Tyler Guyton, as well as what's Smooth's name, Terrence Steele, both of those boys, we really need for them guys. We really need for them guys to improve for the 2025 season if we're going to go anywhere. Here's the good thing about this. Both of those guys on the edge, Tyler Guyton and Terrence Steele, they graded higher in run protection. So hopefully we play into the skill set that they are favorable in versus playing into the skill set that they are not in, So that's how you really get things going. Coyote said low-hanging fruit. He's stuck on Dak if we lost. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if we just – and that's one of the things that people fail to realize is that, no, don't block them. Just leave them there, Albert. Because even – I think, Albert, I don't know if you're the same Albert, but I think you're a 49ers fan. Like, you got to understand what makes Brock Purdy eligible to win. The system, not Brock Purdy by himself. And when people start to dissect certain things, the respect aspect of it is crazy. Because on one end, you can praise a quarterback for their numbers and stats and the accolades, right? And say to yourself, okay, all right, this is a great quarterback. This is elite quarterback. But then on the other end, you can marginalize this particular situation and say, this guy's a terrible quarterback because of the team that he played for. Law, do you have any truths for that? Yeah. You the Cowboy fan. Okay, it's another Albert. I appreciate you, man. Thank you, Donaldson. You said, Donaldson, no. Yeah, but neither here nor there. Nobody need to block anybody. But let's let the truth speak for itself. This chart line right here, one is considered an elite guy, fantastic, first-round draft pick. In 2023, one is considered MVP worthy and all of this stuff, and they gonna paint the picture that this is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, right? The other one is considered dog water, right? The other one is considered trash. The other one is considered hogwash, right? Now, granted, Dak Prescott did play more games than Lamar Jackson. I'm not campaigning for a feel-good story. But what I'm telling you guys, you don't get 4,758 yards by being trash. 38 touchdowns to 11 interceptions by being trash. You don't get a 69.4 completion percentage and considered trash. You don't have a 105.9 passer rating and considered trash. But from our own fan base, we consider ourselves trash when we, even in that year, considered a one-dimensional team. We couldn't run with an authority. Our defense, yes, we could take balls away, but we couldn't stop a nosebleed. The following year, the person that's on the far left side, that particular GM or owner, what have you, said, you know what? We bring more and more weapons, more and more pieces to help solidify our particular quarterback. So what they did is that they gave run game to Lamar Jackson, and he already had run game, right? We fighting over whether or not we're going to start Rico or Ezekiel Elliott. We do things backwards. On that particular team, that defense improve every year. We still fighting on whether or not, you guys got to understand, we fighting on whether or not our guy, Micah Parsons, is a linebacker or an edge rusher. That's what we talking about, and we still haven't paid Micah Parsons yet. We fight each other every single day. Whereas the Ravens folks, their fan base, They're fighting Pittsburgh people. They fighting Kansas City Chiefs people. They fighting Bills. They fighting other folks. They're not having internal warfare with each other. If they're not questioning their quarterback to the degree like we questioning yours. And as, believe it or not, as great and as wonderful as Lamar Jackson is, he only have one more playoff win than our quarterback. And that's crazy. As great as he is, he only got one more playoff win than Dak Prescott. And we know for the help of almighty God, the Ravens, they've been drafting wide receivers in the first round. It's not our fault that they turn out the way that they turn out because the quarterback is a real one-read guy, right? But it's a whole different situation. I guarantee you, my bottom dollar, that when teams line up to play the Ravens, they are not in no quarters defense. They are not in no too high safety looks. You know, they are in spy, they're loading the box, and they're putting one-on-ones to the outside. I wish this guy that have over 100 passer rating and completing 69%, that's damn near 70% of their passes. Don't you know how crazy that is? You know, and throwing for 4,758 yards when everybody knew that that's what they're going to do. Look, when you go and play the Ravens, there's really people say, hey, you got to understand that Lamar Jackson can still sling it. But most of the time, they are more in fear of the run for the Ravens. They're not fear of the throwing. So when you play the Cowboys, for the last, out of the 10 years that you play in the Cowboys, I would say a strong 2.5 that nobody gave a damn about the Cowboys rushing. That's only out of 10 years Dak Prescott been here. Only 2.5 seasons teams were in fear of the run. That was his rookie year, and maybe you can throw in 2018. Well, you can throw in 2017, but the NFL was in the way. But you guys would sit back and fight each other over the quarterback. I can't make this stuff up. I definitely can't make this stuff up. And this is where we're at right now. The Cowboys heading into this season with a new coaching situation. Big dial 8604. The Cowboy fans' treatment of Dak allows all of the BS from other fan bases. Yeah, Jerry Jones' statement on Dak allowed the 4-letter in the network to disrespect him. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You are flat out right, bro. Yeah. Shoot. Yes, indeed. You're right. You know it's at this point. It's damn if you do, damn if you don't. Right? Who's our RB1? All I can say is that this is going to be a challenge. I think that Javonte Williams come out with that win, number 33. Even though he got a mighty number he's wearing, he's ultimately going to win RB1. If it's a toss-up between him and Miles Sanders, we will be happy to get a few reps from Jadon Blue and get a few sparks from him. We would love the ideology that Phil Maffa can do a Terrell Davis type of deal for us, right? Finally, something can happen positive our way, right? But even if any of those things happen, we will fight each other. We'll fight each other. Oh, that guy's trash, man. Fit him up off the field. Put that guy's in. We can't ever get on the board. If we had the same situation Detroit Lions had, there would be literally fights of David Montgomery. Oh, man, set him back. Where is Martin Luther King for Montgomery? You know, oh, you got Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs good. He's our RB1. Oh, no, it's David Montgomery is the RB1. We will be fighting each other if we had the same set of circumstances that Detroit had, right? It's just crazy. It's just crazy. David J. says Dak could win the Super Bowl and people will still hate. Now, I've been down that road before, you know. it's good to be on their side. You know, if you think I'm lying, ask Eagles fans right now. You know, when somebody say that Jalen Hurts not better than X, Y, and Z, they can say, hey, got the Super Bowl. And that's how our fight was, especially with my brother in the 90s, you know. They kept talking about Troy Aikman. Oh, man, Troy Aikman is a bus driver. You know, it's still the same hate, you know. Oh, Troy Aikman is not better than John Elway. Troy Aikman not better than Dan Marino. Troy Aikman best, he's not even better than Jim Kelly. I like to still be on the side where you win in the Super Bowl, though. But that's just how the Cowboy fans, boy, we more toxic than everything. Yeah. Yeah. Blame Dak for every single thing. It is funny, though. You know, JV boy, yeah, you're right. I believe in Dak. I'm afraid I think our defense, the greatest thing for our defense will be the fact that if we can just hold things together, so that they can gel. It normally takes 4 or 5 games, 6 games to a degree for defenses to come around, right? Yeah. And that's just how it goes, unfortunately, you know. Especially when you're talking about the Dallas Cowboys. There's a lot of things we can go over. Shout out to Foots the King, man. He says defensive battles y'all looking for Carson's versus Revel. I don't think that we go with either of those guys. They say they coming. I hope that they go get Gilly. This is from my guy Voch Lombardi. Shout out to him. I'm on their Twitter page about an hour ago. Let's do this right quick. I got to put some cover over it because the argument will still be the argument, right? But let me play this right quick. Hold on, right? Yeah. Yeah. Dak nuts up against top 10 defenses. Once again. Who else? Who else don't nut up? Yeah. When we playing against the top 10 defense and you one-dimensional and you can't run the ball and they only sending 4, who else gonna show up? What your expectations are when you facing a top 10 defense and you one-dimensional? Right? Jerry says, I don't nut up. Yeah. Jerry. Yeah. Where you at, Jerry? Jerry. I got to find you, Jerry. Yeah. Jerry says he don't. Yeah. There you go, Jerry. It's an evil world we live in, right? But who else? Who else shows up? Like, I was gonna play this audio, but I got to be somewhere at the top of the hour. So we're gonna have part 2 of this. Offensively speaking, in a game that you guys state, and I'm talking to the haters. Offensively speaking, not even looking at the defense. Who else showed up? When it was time, when it was nut cutting time. Who else showed up? Like, can you name me the game that you sat back and said, damn, Dak is trash. But look at that damn running back, man. He's giving us 5 and 8 yards. Name me that part. Can y'all find me the game that you like, damn, Dak is trash. But man, CD just took a 1 yard play and took it to the house. Name me that game. You can't name me that game. You know, you can't name me the game that you seen one person just destroying the ops. Just destroying the ops. What game? You know, y'all said Lamb, but what game? What game y'all talking about? Because I've seen, you can't, I know, I do the play-by-play for every game. I watched every game more than 5 times last season. Name me the game.
You got us the poet $5. No disrespect, but Doc Delusional hangs out on a page that preaches Cowboys love and Doc hate. We all want to SB, but hating Doc ain't gonna get us there.
You ain't lying. You guys appreciate you. Thank you so much. Woo! Offensively speaking, name me the game that you be like, man, that's the game changer. You can't do it. The only time you can do it, 2018, when we were 3-5, and the Cowboys went to go make a move, and they went and got Amari Cooper. That's the only time that even in the huddle, he says, Dak, all right, we can't be running these hitches anymore. Just trust me, man. Throw it to me, man. I got you. Look, people are really scratching their head, you know, because when we do have run game, when we do have others that's eating, the quarterback is just perfect. Oh, Law, do you have any truths to this? There's multitudes, and I mean multitudes, of games that if you go back and look at last year, who won MVP? Who won MVP? Joshua Allen. There's multiple games that you can go back and watch how that particular brother, what's his last name? Because I forgot his name. We ain't got the other brother that's here. We got Dalvin Cooks, but I think they had a guy named James Cook. That you can go back and watch James Cook just cooking teams. Just cooking teams. You go back. Matter of fact, there are games that you can go back and just watch last season. There's a guy by the name of Derrick Henry that you can just go back and watch Derrick Henry dominate games. Just straight up dominating games. Pull up highlight tapes and the kid just running for 80 yards down the field, still forming this person, still forming that person. You can just go back and watch those things. You can't find a game that we sat back and watched someone else dominate. There's been one person that dominated the game. Now, Zeke, I'm not dismissing him. 16, oh yeah, he dominated. Some parts of 17 without the, with all of that stuff, he dominated. 18 dominated some games. Well, where's 19 and 20 and 21, 22, 23? That you just sat back and you watch somebody else dominate games. Law, you can't say James without Washington, Yeah. Albert said you gotta go all the way back. There's games in my mind that I can tell you that Zeke dominated. Cincinnati, his rookie year. Chicago Bears, his rookie year. The Packers, yeah. Jerry says Henry ran downfield and dropped chain. Yeah, snatching chains and everything. All right. My guy says, when the quarterback, it's Q&A time because I only got 10 minutes left. He says when the quarterback doesn't do his job, it affects all phases of the game. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Let me know of your knowledge of the game. Let me know your knowledge of the game. Saquon Barkley versus the Washington Commanders average 15.5 yards per rush. Put this down on your mental capacity. 15.5 yards per rush. So if you the quarterback of that team and you saying that, hey, I just need for you to do your job. Hero, they could have me back there doing the job. You can't mess that up. But if your running back is averaging 2 yards per throw, 2 yards per run, team's gonna play that differently. They're not gonna give you single high safety look. They're gonna drop 6 or 7. The only way that your quarterback can do his job with that, if you block it up front and run the ball to get him up out of that. For example, so many people going back to that Green Bay Packers game, the last time we was in the postseason game. That team defensively rushed only 4 and dropped everybody, mama, uncle, cousin into coverage. The only way that the Cowboys could move the ball is through marginal attempts when they tried to run the ball. That team were able to stop and shut down our run game to abysmal of only allowing us to average 2 yards on the ground. You're not winning that game. If I'm only averaging 2 yards, and if I know that you're passing the ball every time, and if I'm a DB, and I'm sitting on routes, and I'm seeing the frustration from Lamb, and I'm seeing the frustration from Brandon Cooks and anybody else, all I have to do is sit on those routes. Eventually, the INT is coming if you're one-dimensional. A boxer is no good without his jab. A football team is no good without his run game. Yes, you need a haymaker here and there. But what y'all are expecting this particular team to do in the past is to win with only haymakers. You may win some. But what happened when you get hit in the gut? What happened when you get hit across the face? Yeah, plus, he says, we got behind and had to go to the passing game. Yeah, that's going to happen. Law, do you have any truth to that? The exact same thing happened to Pat Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Their front 4 stopped 5 offensive linemen, as discussed. Yeah, 224, and that's truth. Packers were hot. Yep. Nothing we can do about it. Nothing we can do about it. And they damn near almost beat the 41ers too. and let Twin talk about it. They was this close for being eliminated too that year. We haven't had a run game in 3 to 4 years. And here's the thing. In closing, here's the thing. The rude awakening is that this is a copycat league. And while they're praising one, there should be another one to get praises on another, But let's listen to it.
Yeah, looking at that right there, that's all. And you can think whatever you want to think about Jalen Hurts, but there should never be a list to where Justin Herbert is in front of Jalen Hurts. I don't really care about what type of talent and all that you're talking about. And then Jaden Daniels is going to be a superstar in this league. I truly believe that. But I cannot put him in front of Jalen Hurts, who's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's had 1 good year. Do I think at the end of this, when it's all said and done, could he possibly, baby? Yes, absolutely. But right now, as we're talking right now, After 1 year, no. And then I see Justin Herbert at 7, who hasn't won a playoff game. This boy been in more Super Bowls than you won playoff games. And we're talking about Justin Herbert's a better quarterback than him. I cannot do that. I think this is disrespectful to Jalen Hurts right here. This is an awful list when you have Jalen Hurts at 9 and those two dudes in front of him.
All right, so that's the inverse of our argument, right? And shout out to your Iceberg Q. If we never knew how much players made, it'll be less hate. Yeah. All right. In closing, it's always a beautiful thing to see other people try to solidify these type of things, and it's always good to see these two right here too. You know, that's crazy. That's crazy. But what I'm getting at is we talking about systems and understanding. There's no doubt in my mind that Jalen Hurts is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. There's no doubt in my mind that Herb never won a playoff game. Both of those guys getting paid $250 million. But when you start to quantify the fact that this is not an individual sports, and he know it, right? That if you pick up Herb and you put him on the damn Eagles, we know for sure that he will have more than a playoff win. This is the whole argument that I'm trying to make when people talk about playoffs. Playoff wins, Super Bowls, and all of this stuff. It's a team sport. I don't know what this new generation is always trying to make it an individual. Like this is tennis, golf, track to a degree. This is a team sport. I digress. I gotta run. I sure hate that I gotta run too, because I'm about to cook with kerosene over here, blow up the whole damn place. But it should be part 2 when I get back. I appreciate everybody, man, for tuning in. Be sure to save your place in this by selecting that subscribe button and joining the notification squad. We don't have a time or a rhyme or reasons when we do go live, right? But we try to go live at least once a day. But there will be more and more things that I'm going to talk about when we get back. Come on with it. Where my outro at? I got to get my outro deal going. Come on with it. Yeah. You got to run, why not drive? Oh, yeah. Well, I got to drive. On up out of here. Winning is the #1 priority, Cowboy Nation. Let's get it. One way or another. DC for life, not for short. Let's get it. Peace.
Take the money out! All of it! Come on! I'm wasting my time now. Come on!